Who was your toughest pull between Shaq, Thor, or Brian Shaw?
I'd say it's between Brian and Shaq. Shaq is a monster. Like, when you talk about like genetics and genetic potential, Shaq is terrifying. Like, I think that any sport discipline that Shaquille O'Neal decided to be the best at, he would have been.
Does Devon think that Shaq would be stronger in arm wrestling than Brian Shaw? Guys, just recently, Devon was interviewed alongside Gary Goodrich on his channel, and on the video, they've talked about a lot of interesting topics, and one of them was about Brian Shaw. But Devon is not just asked about Brian, but he's asked also about Shaq. And as you saw from the beginning, Devon seems to have placed more emphasis on Shaq than Brian. Like, he just seems to be more impressed by him. Although, Devon had a bit more to say about them. Take a look.
The thing is when it comes to arm wrestling, you got Brian Shaw, and I think that the sport of basketball and the sport of strongman probably sets you up a little bit better to do well as an arm wrestler. Probably. Brian Shaw is coming into the game with a little bit more muscle, a little bit more development. But I'll tell you, both those names are in the 0.0000 whatever 1% of the human population. Brian Shaw is a complete unique specimen, and Shaquille O'Neal is like completely ridiculous. So as soon as you actually get face to face with Shaquille O'Neal, you recognize what a supreme specimen that dude is. Like, I'm telling you, that guy at 7'1" or 7'3" or whatever Shaq is, he moves just like a small man. Like, he's proportionate, he's athletic. Yeah, so super dangerous.
As you heard there from Devon, he thinks that, due to Brian being a strong man, he's more well set up to be an arm wrestler. Although, that seems to be as far as a compliment that Devon given towards Brian. But about Shaq, Devon just only kept on saying on how impressive he is as an specimen. So, thinking about those two, what's actually the difference? Well, firstly, we have to look at the height. I remember when Devon went to meet Brian, and they started putting content out there, and Devon is believed to be 196 centimeters tall, while Brian seems to be 203 centimeters tall. But when they were side to side, many were saying that they didn't look that far in height at all, many even questioning if Brian was indeed 6'8". While in the other hand, when Devon went to visit Shaq, it goes without saying, Shaq literally makes Devon look normal sized, since he has an outstanding height of 7'1" or 216 centimeters, which is 13 centimeters above Brian. And Shaq is not just tall, Devon talked about him being a basketball player, but Shaq's arms are actually very strong, and his hands are 10.25 inches long and are 12 inches wide. So, seeing all of that, I really got curious about what would happen if Shaq and Brian would have a match. Like, realistically, I believe Shaq's only contact with arm wrestling was when he met Devon, while Brian's already training and looking forward to get into the sport. So, maybe Shaw would have the advantage if they would have a fight right now. But if they were even, like Shaq started training, I really think this match would be epic. But what about you guys? What's your thoughts on Shaq arm wrestling? Leave down in the comments, and thank you so much for watching.